Running a small co-working space means wearing too many hats all the time. Community builder, marketer, bricklayer, chef, therapist, all at once. It's exhausting. That's why we started the Community Builder cohort. It's where people who run small spaces can stop spinning their wheels and start making real progress. One member slashed their admin hours with one simple workflow shift. Another launched a newsletter they've been putting off for months and months. Yet another hosted a Sunday market that reignited their local community. If you're tired of fighting out alone, check the Community Builder cohort link in the show notes or contact Emily or me directly. Hello folks, and welcome to another Co-working Values podcast. And you've heard us raging all year about the Workspace Design Show, and is next week as we're recording this episode. And here in our luxury Vigo studio, I have H. H, before we get into the Workspace Design Show, what are you known for and what would you like to be known for?
Oh, blimey. I've never been asked that before. What, in the work sense or just in general?
In general. We like to meet the person here, you know.
I guess I'll base it on what other people tend to say about me, which is that I have boundless energy, which I take as a huge compliment. So if I'm going to do something, I'm going to put my absolute all into it, whether in a personal or a work context. So yeah, I don't know if that answers your question.
That's really good. That's the feeling I've got from the 6 minutes we've spoken via Zoom so far. So can you just, for the few people that haven't heard about this, can you just set up like where the Workspace Design Show is and what's going to happen, and then we'll get into the meat of the experience?
Absolutely, yeah. So the Workspace Design Show is taking place in London on the 26th and the 27th of February at one of my favourite venues in the UK, which is the Business Design Centre. And we like to think of it as, one of those must-attends on London's design calendar. Not just London, we get, people from countries all over Europe. It's attended by the region's top architects, designers, occupiers, developers, consultants, co-working companies, fit-out companies, and we're really passionate about making it the platform from where workspace innovation is discussed, the latest products are unveiled, and we just want to ignite that creative spark amongst all those professionals. So this year we're looking on course to get about 5,000 attendees. There's about 120 speakers. I can't remember the number off the top of my head, but I think it's about 500 unique workplace products and just hundreds and hundreds of really, really good interactive talks and installations. So I think it's an absolutely fabulous event for anybody that's in this industry.
It is. I first went. It was one of the first ones after COVID, and I only went because there was people from companies in London at that same time, and I just don't like exhibitions. And here we are 4 years later, and I'm wildly enthusiastic about it. And it was so useful to walk around, like from a co-working perspective. It was so useful to walk around and see all these like phone booths and coffee makers and pieces of furniture, and hear people talking about how to, acoustics and stuff like that. It is, even if you don't talk to anybody when you walk in, going and seeing all that equipment in the same place at the same time is a very, very good use of time. That's my
thank you.
There's only
description.
There's only so many coffee makers you can see, but it is. I actually walked out going, I think I want to open a co-working space now. I've seen all that gear in one place.
And that's that feeling that we really want to evoke in people. I'm really glad you feel that way.
It's very exciting for me. Can you say a little bit about how you design the talks? Because a big thing for me is I've been to so many events where someone mediocre who's sponsoring it is standing on stage talking, and it's almost like they've gripped the audience with a paycheck, or they haven't got a paycheck. And that pay to speak model in the events industry is always contentious. But how do you pick the people to get on panels and stages and give talks at your place?
Well, firstly, I would just point out that we're really, really cautious about we actively steer away from that approach. It has got to be about what challenges, what pain points, what trends, what interests the delegates, because they're the ones that we really want to keep happy. If they're happy, our exhibitors are going to be happy. So the program is designed, we do it completely from scratch each year. We have an advisory board that helps us with pulling it together, and it is from a needs-led perspective. It's not from a how much cash can we squeeze out of our speakers to help bolster the revenues for the show. Obviously the show needs to make money, but the speakers are really, really carefully chosen. We educate every single one that we onboard. It's not about giving a sales pitch. It's about giving value and making that attendee feel as if they have learnt something or have been inspired by something from listening to that talk or that panel or workshop, whatever it is. So whatever format it is that they're going in to listen to, we always think about what are they going to get out of it? Is it actually going to make their lives easier? Is it going to help them do their jobs better? And that's how we design the program, and then we think, okay, and who are the best speakers that can possibly give advice in this area? Those are the people that we want to get on board, and that's how we do the speaker recruitment.
Yeah, it works really well. I'm sorry to like completely fanboy the whole thing here, but um, I went to talks that I was interested in and wouldn't have like probably
Sorry.
wouldn't have read. That's okay. Dogs are very welcome. Um, I wouldn't have thought about that topic, but then I went to the talk and it really, opened my eyes in an area that was just influenced how I thought about things later on. And if you're coming to the whole event and we're going to do our London co-working assembly events, then plan the talks you're going to go to beforehand, and we'll be emailing you folks this. So it's a really, really good use of your time. I want to get into the theme, which is activate the senses. And what what does that mean? Because I know what I want it to mean, but like when I walk through that pink tunnel to get into the Workspace Design Show, what what's going on there?
I love, firstly, that you've called it the pink tunnel. The entrance feature, that's something that Shepherd Robson have worked really hard to pull together. So the first thing that attendees are going to experience on arriving at the show is this journey through a thoughtfully designed entrance that engages the senses and invites every attendee to experience the harmony of space and creativity. So I'm really excited about this feature because I've seen the amount of work that they've put into it, and every single element has been crafted to evoke curiosity and inspiration. So we really want the experience for our attendees to start the minute they enter that pink tunnel. And to go back to your question about why activate the senses, it's something that we've been talking about a lot this year. And actually, I think it was somebody from Gensler that when we were talking with Isha, who's one of the co-founders of the show, and planning this area, it's something that came out of our research as well. So we always do really detailed insight surveys after the show, just to make sure we are delivering on what we promise to our attendees. And what's come out of it is that it's not just about aesthetics. So workspace design, yeah, create a visually appealing environment. That's really important. But are you enhancing the physical and emotional well-being of those employees that work within that space? And what we realized is that if you're engaging all those five senses, sight, sound, touch, smell, etc., you can create a space that elevates productivity and fosters that creativity within your workforce. And that can only promote the overall health and well-being of your employees as well. So if you're doing that, you're making them happier people. The output that you're going to get out at the other end is going to be that much better for it. And so that's why we were really excited to introduce this theme, because we think it reflects our commitment to promoting workspace design, but in a way that enhances that productivity, that creativity, that well-being. So we want to inspire new ways of thinking about how these environments can shape our experiences. And I think our exhibitors and feature partners have really embraced that theme with enthusiasm. And a lot of them have been incorporating really sensory elements into their displays and their installations. And I hope you and your network are going to witness that themselves when they come on site. Um, from things like soundproof materials that promote focus, tactile surfaces that encourage interaction, scents that enhance relaxation or creativity. There's so much thought that's put into how you're going to be able to see that all on site that I'm really, really excited about people witnessing.
That is huge because like I'm one of those neurodivergent people, which I've only really learnt about properly in the last 5 years about how the environment. And I always thought I was quite picky, but if I'm in I haven't got a soundproof room, but like if I'm in somewhere that's the acoustics are good
Yeah.
and like I've got I'm talking here and I've got lots of lamps around my desk and it's all it's 9 o'clock in the morning here in Spain and it's all cozy still. I work really well like this. Whereas if someone puts on a fluorescent light above me and there's too much echo, it's not it annoys me. I just cannot concentrate.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
right. So it affects how productive and how good you feel about being in that space, right?
something a reoccurring theme here, and I say this a lot. No matter who we're speaking to, or what age or gender or ethnicity, there's a theme that comes up when people are talking. We've done like this is probably like in nearly podcast number 200, and it's people need a safe space, and not safe from nuclear missiles and stuff like that, but like safe so they can sit down, connect with themselves, and then focus and then do their best work. And sometimes that sounds a bit like, oh, that's very first worldy, isn't it? But when you can like center yourself, you can do this stuff.
Absolutely, yeah. And as you say, if you feel that the environment is supporting you to do think better things and write more creatively, you will just do a better job
Yeah,
and you feel good about it.
I do a lot of amazing work sitting in an 800-pound Herman Milling chair, but it's just I think that's where my safe space is. What are some of the must-see highlights in this year's show?
It's really difficult to pin them down. I mean, obviously, I'm going to say that, but I just think that there's so much going on, particularly at this year's event. I mean, I would say definitely the go along to the talks at the Insights Lounge. There's some really, really good speakers we've got on board this year. Um, there's a panel discussion on workspace communities about building social value, fostering inclusivity, strengthening community. So that's on the 27th of February, and that's chaired by Riders Emma Douglas. And then you've got your panel participants from Home Group and Bupa. So I would definitely get along to that if you get a chance. And actually, that space, based on what we've been talking about as well, is going to be a really good one to see how thoughtful and sustainable design can transform environments. So I would definitely get along to that if you can. You've probably seen the mood board contest, which has taken place ever since we first launched the show. That's going to return, but that's going to look amazing. We get more and more people showing off their creativity in that area each year. So it's building a workplace design through a personal exploration of materials and textures and colours, and we really love seeing what some of those creations come out looking like. Who else? You've got Hawley, who are doing a mixed media showcase, exploring how different sensory environments can impact your mental and physical well-being. And I can't even talk about what they're doing yet at the show, because there's a lot of it that's actually being unveiled at the show itself. So that's going to be quite exciting. So we're ourselves going to see it for the first time on
Do
site.
you happen to know what time they'll be doing that? Or
So it's going to be from the moment the show opens. So that's a really good reason to get there on the morning of the first day. And then you've got the likes of Material Bank, who are going to be sort of showing how the material sourcing process can be completely revolutionized, and they're hosting some sessions on sites. Definitely go and speak to them, because they're one of the best platforms for searching, sampling, specifying materials. And then I couldn't not mention the Design Talks Lounge, which has been really thoughtfully designed by Gensler and Umbrella, who have put a lot of work into that. So that's going to be bringing the commercial interior design industry's really good, inspiring, creative leaders together to talk about the latest trends and insights in workplace design, strategy, and culture. And I honestly couldn't pick a specific session. I would, as you already advised your network previously, is to take a look at the sessions on the website and pick out the ones that you want to attend, and make sure you don't miss them, because there's lots of talks happening at the same time. So I wouldn't want any attendee to miss out on something that they would really, to look at the board and go, oh, that would have been a really good talk. I wish I'd seen that sooner. So definitely take a look at the program and make
yeah,
sure you get down there.
I know every event organizer says this, but like I don't do that, and now I in a very geeky way like plan out when I'm going to be somewhere, and I bring people with me, because I there's some things I really missed out on because I hadn't looked at the program properly, and there is. I mean, it is here we are talking about activating the senses. It is a bit of a sensory overload. So many things to go to, but it's just really valuable, and it's great seeing how other people, there's people from huge companies there that you can be in quite a conversational setting with in these talks and hear what they say. Like last year, one of the reasons I'm so wildly enthusiastic about the Unreasonable Hospitality book is I was chairing one of the panels there about the hotelification of the workspace, and I just said, "Oh, has anyone read Unreasonable Hospitality?" And there must have been at least 150 people in front of me, and half of them put their hands up. That's how popular that book
Right.
is in the workspace industry. We spent that time last year. I really should remember the name of the stand. It was an acoustic stand, and we were sat round a table in one of the stands, and it actually felt like we were in someone's living room, talking, and we got to meet a lot of people who were just very interested in acoustics, and we had a very deep conversation about neurodiversity and workspace. And it was really, and then we saw them in Amsterdam the year after. Anyway, we're running out of time here. Sorry. How do you? You said a little bit about this earlier, but how do you come up with this? Like it, I feel like a LinkedIn post now. Work is changing at 100 miles an hour. Like, how do you keep everything fresh and relevant each year? Because it must.
It
I know it's a big job.
it really is, and it's a big ask for an organizer, because if you want to keep evolving your show, you have to be at the center of what's happening in the industry. The only way I would say that we can do that, it's going to sound like such a cliche, but we just talk to people. We talk to our exhibitors, we talk to our speakers, we talk to our attendees. We 12 months, the show is annual. A lot changes in that time, and yet a lot doesn't change in terms of some of the trends, the thoughts, the challenges that people have. So we all I would say is this show is not put on by the internal team just sitting together and going, right, same again next year. Yeah, that worked great this year. So it is about having those deep conversations with people and really getting to the heart of what we can pat ourselves on the back and go, yeah, that was a great show, well done guys, right, off to plan the next one. What we really, really take seriously is understanding what was the one thing that we could have delivered that we didn't this year for you. Who do which people were missing for you, which companies were missing for you, what do you need to understand to make your life more easier in your everyday role? And then that's how we design not just the speaker program, but the layout of the show floor itself, the types of exhibitors we want to make sure are represented there. So it really is just about, and I hate for it to sound like a a cliched thing. I'm sure you get told this by lots of organisers, but what I would say is that's the thing that we take really, really seriously is we talk to the people that are the beating heart of this industry, the people that are shaping it and advancing it. We need to understand from them, how is this show serving their purpose, and if it's not, then we want to make sure we go about fixing that and make sure that is delivered on even more the next year. So that's how we keep things fresh and relevant. Did that
That
answer
is,
your question?
yeah. You say that's cliche, but that's exactly what we did. We changed the way we do workshops and events and stuff. Like we make sure everyone who comes to the things we do, it's a completely different format to what you do, but we make sure everyone's talking to each other.
Yeah.
And because a lot of stuff and the kind of events we do, a lot of stuff can be a blog post or a YouTube video, and people want to come and talk to each other. And particularly since, I think this was always the way, but particularly since COVID, when people leave their building and their Zoom rooms, they want human interaction. And that's one of the big things we changed. But we only discovered that by having a conversation like this, not by sending out an event survey.
Exactly. There is so much more that you can glean from just having a sit-down conversation from somebody. So that's what we'll continue to do.
So H, we're going to put links to everything in the show notes, but for everyone running on a treadmill or, walking the dog, where can we find you? How do we connect with you? What's the...
Me personally or the show or both?
Both.
Oh, well, please connect with me on LinkedIn. Whoever you are, I'd love to talk to you. My name is Humaira Pilkington. Hopefully there's not too many of me with that same name. Come find me online and I'd love to connect with you and see you at the show. If you want to register, it's free to attend. It's workspaceshow.co.uk. Please come along. I'd love to see as many of you as possible there.
And G, are you doing anything in November in Amsterdam?
We are. We're doing the second edition following our successful launch of Workspace Show Amsterdam, and that's the 5th and 6th of November of this year.
We'll put a link in there. And the European Co-working Assembly will be congregating there, mainly because Janine lives in Amsterdam and she can walk to the venue. She doesn't live in Amsterdam, actually. She lives in the Netherlands, and I've corrected myself there because she's going to come back and find me. And then if you go to the show notes, there's all the details we just mentioned there, and there's a link to European Co-working Day, the 8,000 strong co-working LinkedIn group. And wherever you are in the world, ladies and gentlemen, be careful out there. It is a jungle. Thanks for your time and attention.
Thank you.